Okay, no, I
Nothing
lied.
less.
Hello, anyone who's
Hey.
Oh no, I just muted myself. Okay. Yeah, so welcome back to my channel. I guess if you're watching, you probably know I'm Katie. If everyone else wants to go around and introduce themselves, and also maybe say what you rated the book. Just before we do that, we are discussing Elatsoe today by Darcy Lister Badger. I don't have it with me, but yeah, everyone else wrong way. Everyone else does. Yeah, so if you want to start, Tammy.
Yeah. I'm Tammy from the channel Tammy Tries to Read. I gave this 3.5 stars.
Hi,
Next.
I'm Sophia from Fantasy Book Addict. I actually didn't give this a rating at all.
Yeah.
I'm Rue from Rue's Reading Corner, and I gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah, I'm the same as Rue. I gave it 4.5 stars as well.
So we have mixed feelings.
Feelings. Do we want to talk a bit about just like overall impressions, like non-spoilery to start with? Although I'm not sure there is that much you can spoil.
Yeah, there's not much
How I feel about
spoilers. Katie, do you want to start?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I thought like it just had this kind of like storytelling charm about it. I don't know. I feel like it just felt so nostalgic reading it. Like it was kind of like a childhood story that would be read to me or that kind of thing. And I have a real like weakness for the kind of, because it was almost like a bit of a murder mystery investigation type thing. Not exactly a murder mystery, but sort of like finding out what happened. And I really like that, especially in middle grade. And I'm not sure if Elatsoe is technically middle grade or if it's YA.
It's YA technically.
It's YA, yeah, but it felt like it towed the line a little bit. And
what it is that the characters actually feel the age that they are, and sort of
they actually feel like teenagers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the kind of aspects of the like mythology and the Kirby. He was called Kirby, wasn't he?
Yeah. The ghost dog.
Yeah.
I thought you would like him.
Yeah, and I actually really liked Ellie, who's the main character. I know some of you thought that you didn't like the characters as much, but I quite liked her. I thought I can see why you thought she was a bit like flat, but I really liked. I guess that's my thoughts.
I guess I'll go so we can have like a mix. I enjoyed it. I feel like while I was reading it, I enjoyed it. And like you said, I like the whimsical vibe of it. And I'm always a sucker for like a story within a story kind of situation. So I really liked those parts.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, where it fell flat was I think the characters fell flat for me. Like in terms of their interactions with each other and like building relationships with each other, I just felt like they didn't develop much throughout the book. And there was so much potential for me. Like there was so much potential with like the relationship. I think Sophia and I talked about this just before we went live, but like between Ellie and her mom, and between like I think Ellie and Lenore, that relationship was explored a little bit, but like even that for me, like it didn't feel like a natural growth. Like you didn't actually get to see the growth. It just, you were kind of just like told it happened. And then for me, in terms of plot, I just like, I wasn't that invested in the murder mystery element, I think, for me personally. But yeah, I like the writing style. I think that's definitely the strongest element of the book for me.
I was just gonna add to your point about the relationships. They kind of, it felt like, I guess they were already sort of there. And I see your thing about them not really developing, but like her friendship with her like best friend, whose name I can't remember.
Jay. Her friendship that makes no sense. Rue and I have feelings about this. We'll get into this later, I feel.
You know, I liked it. But yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
For me, granted, I was in a reading slump when I read this, so like that could have affected my enjoyment. I thought it was fun and entertaining while I was reading it, but personally, I don't feel like it's a story that's going to stick with me, a story that I need to reread and go back to.
Yeah, I feel the same.
In terms of the relationship, I really liked seeing her parents there because in YA, they always kill off the parents
Yeah,
who end up being orphans, and so seeing her parents
that's
there
true.
was a good thing. But I just wanted more. It's like, okay, we took this step, great. Now, how can we take it further? In terms of the friend, I didn't really care about Jay. Kirby stole the show for me. Like he was the best part of the story. In terms, actually, for a while, I thought it was like written in two different perspectives. It was kind of confusing to me because I was listening to it on audiobook, and so like there wasn't much of a distinction. So like it would switch to sixth grade perspective, and then I'd be like, wait, what's going on? Until you guys were like, no, it's a story within a story. So I feel like I wish there was like maybe get like two different audiobook narrators would have helped make that distinction for me. But besides those few criticisms, I do think it's a good story, just one that's not for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that with the audiobook because I think I was reading something recently. It wasn't this book on audio, but it was like from two POVs, and they're both first person, and it was the same narrator, and I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, with audiobook it's hard.
Yeah, Ruth, do you want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like I agreed with a lot of things you said, Katie, but I also just feel like because this reads like such middle grade, my rating system is also like catered towards middle grade.
Yeah,
I feel like
I agree.
I rate middle grades a lot higher just because I read them simply for entertainment because I know it's not like for my age range anyway. Which technically YA isn't anymore either. But I just think that I don't really have that many criticisms because I went into I think it really helped that I went into the book not knowing what it was about, just that it was really making the rounds on book Twitter. So I picked it, and I feel like each individual component is just something that I would love. Like I love murder mysteries and I love ghosts. And I just love stories within stories and mythology, and I feel like all of them together just like were a combination. Yeah.
And another thing I really like was like the illustrations.
So pretty.
They're so pretty.
I didn't get the illustrations.
Which is why I switched from audio to physical.
And I think I was just gonna add to someone saying like you wouldn't like read this book again. Like it's enjoyable to read once, and then I feel like for me it's the kind of book like this is a weird thing to like think, but it's the kind of book that I'd want to like share with my children if I ever have them and like read it to them or like have them read it. I don't know. It just struck me as that kind of book.
I feel that.
I get what you mean.
Shall we go into maybe slightly more spoilery thoughts now? Because I definitely have something I want to get off my chest.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. So if anyone hasn't read the book, then you might want to leave now, and you can come back and watch it because it'll be up on my channel when you've finished reading it. So when at the end when I thought Kirby died, or well not died but like went away, that was so sad.
I know. I was like, no, you can't. Not him. I had a feeling. It wasn't actually. I feel like the book, like for me, it was a solid 4-star until the end. I just really liked the way the mystery, like the reveal at the end about the town, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool. It's this immortal town that just sucks the life out of wherever they moved. I was just like, oh my god, I really like that. I was just like, oh, that's so creepy. Because as someone who reads a lot of YA, at least I used to read a lot of YA mysteries, I feel like they're very cut and paste copies of each other. They have like the same kind of reveals. And this one was just, can you guys hear an echo? Is that me? Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's, yeah, I just feel like it was very different in that way, and I was just like so pleasantly surprised. And I just really like the way the mystery ended.
Yeah.
Just the whole town was like so creepy, and I really liked it.
I agree. And there was like this kind of thing with mushrooms going on a little bit. I feel like they were mentioned once or twice. And I was thinking, is this going to be another creepy mushroom book? Because already this year I've read 2 books which heavily feature as a plotline creepy mushrooms. So I think I was super aware of it. But then
I did not notice mushrooms.
That turned out not really to be true or like a major part to play in the book. But I was like very suspicious of these mushrooms. But actually, on that point, I really like those like gate things. Were they like fairy gates or something? Or like the kind of
fairy rings, I think.
Yeah. I thought they were
Going back to like the kid issue, I just really felt like this was 2 kids trying to solve a murder, like with the little moments where they're just going through the trash and like if you read YA mysteries, either the main character is like this genius who knows everything about mysteries and you're like mini Sherlock Holmes. I'm just like, this is 2 kids doing their best, and I just really like that.
I think that's kind of what made it read a bit more like middle grade. Like it definitely felt like, and the fact that the parents were alive, which I actually really liked. And I feel like it sort of gave Ellie a bit of an emotional like sounding board in a way. Like she wasn't, it didn't feel like she was alone, or like she certainly didn't inflict that on herself. Because like sometimes I think characters can be a bit guilty of like, oh, I have to have all this burden on myself, and I'm not.
It's like the martyr syndrome that so many characters have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that her parents were, generally speaking, they were just like supportive parents. Like they weren't like toxic parents. They weren't like bad parents. They were just genuinely like good parents. Well, I mean, she manages to like escape and do shit, but like but like fundamentally, like they're good parents, which I really appreciated.
And, like, the dad had faith in her since the very beginning.
The dad made me soft.
He's just like, yeah, there's no proof, but like I believe in you. Like, and I'm just like,
I kind of wanted a little more of like the mother and daughter bonding moments, just because he gets her powers from her mother's side. So I felt like when she was exploring the world a little more, like granted there was that scene where she just went into like that other world, and then afterwards she had a talk with her mother, and her mother's like, let me tell you all the family secrets. So I like that moment. I just wish that there was more of those kind of moments.
I really liked that underworld scene. I thought that was so cool. Like the sort of imagery.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like I wanted more from the mom, and like I feel like because we got so much of 6th grade, I just wanted like a slightly more. Maybe this is asking too much from it, but like I wanted more of like the intergenerational feel, because like I feel like with 6th grade, like we just skipped a couple of generations, and then we got to Ellie, and then we got a tease of like her mom at the end being involved in like being involved with the magic and everything, and then like I just feel like I wish it was more throughout rather than like just teased at the end, so that it was more of like a intergenerational like family magic.
And I feel like the themes of like colonialism and colonization could have been made stronger if we had explored it through an intergenerational lens as well.
Yeah, because I feel like there were definitely those moments, because like there's the whole thing where her family can curse monsters off their land by telling them to leave the land.
Vampires.
Like,
I do like how this book, and what for me like reminds me of middle grade, is how it's like, I feel like sometimes with like things like culture and like social issues and like the themes that it's trying to bring in with YA, it can sometimes be a little heavy-handed, whereas like with middle grade, I find that often it's a little bit more light-handed. It's a little bit more like it's brought up and it makes a point, but it's more integrated into the story, and I feel like this book does that well. So I feel like in that sense, how it brings up themes, how it like incorporates them, it brings them up in a more like fundamental and like simple way to understand, which I really like.
Yeah. And with the like intergenerational thing, I think that's kind of a bit of a theme of the book, like with your family and your ancestors. So I guess it's good to kind of explore a bit more like other, for lack of a better term, like, yeah, generations, rather than just like sixth grade and Ellie. But yeah, how did we, like, what did we think of sixth grade's like story?
I want a whole sixth grade book.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was good.
I'm telling you, those were my favorite parts.
And like the end, or you know, because sixth grade, because like the mom is talking about sixth grade and how she went into the underworld, and she's just like how they didn't approve of that decision, and then they bring it around, they bring it in full circle towards the end, where she was just like, maybe like that was the decision that was best for her, and she did it for love, and I was just like, you making me soft. Stop.
I feel like her parts were also just like put into the story so seamlessly. Like it just moved from Ellie's story to sixth grade story just so well. And then everything, I feel like a lot of places when there are flashbacks, it's not always necessary. A lot of flashbacks are just like almost aesthetic. But like everything you learned in sixth grade chapters came into play later on.
Yeah. And I like that with sixth grade stories, they were almost always, if not always, told by someone else to someone else. So it was like very much like the oral storytelling kind of style, where like someone is telling that story. And I really liked that aspect of it.
Yeah, I really like that in books in general. Just like, and I feel like it feels, because like, I guess storytelling is rooted in like oral storytelling. Like that's how it started. So it feels very kind of like, I don't know, a journey.
Yeah.
I want to hear Rue and Tammy's opinions on the friendship situation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So like Tammy and I have talked about this to death.
The white boy.
Yeah. So like when they meet, like both of us were just like, we were like, okay, yeah, they were friends as kids. They're estranged. Like they were talking, they met, and it felt like they didn't know each other. It felt like they just like, you know, you run into someone you went to school with on the street, and he's like, oh yeah, casually, just you know, like there.
Like, oh hi, how's it going? Long time no see. Like.
And then next chapter, you find out they're best friends, and like Jake is like incessant, almost obsessed with Ellie, like always calling, just like being like, "What are you up to? Can I help?"
I'm outside your house. Stop, sir, stop.
And they're so comfortable apparently with each other. Their families know each other. Everything's fine. But like all their conversations is like, let's get to know you. 20 questions. Like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? I'm just like,
I feel like we went from that to like her being a part of like the wedding. The engagement thing, and I was like, do you even know? Do you even know this boy? Like, I'm confusion. Like,
because like you can tell, like their families are like know each other and are comfortable with each other enough for her to be like a bridesmaid, but they just know nothing about each other, and like. Ellie, I just got the vibe she doesn't care. She always just like, she calls Jay when she needs information, and he's always the one calling her, being like, "How can I help?"
He's like texting her all the time. And he's like, "You're not responding to my text," and she's like, "I had something going on. Relax." And I'm just like, "Sir, you're embarrassing yourself."
Embarrassing.
I'm like, sir, please calm down.
It was like
she has a life.
Exactly.
She has a life.
It's that, and also like, let me try to get to know you. Like, answer all these questions I have about you like you're a stranger. I'm just like, what is this relationship?
Yeah.
I guess maybe his purpose was to help the readers like get to know Ellie. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. For me, that was one of the weird, like, the things that I had an issue with in terms of, like, the characters and the relationships, stuff like that, where it's, like, it felt like all the relationships felt very, like, surface level because of the kind of questions and the kind of conversations they were having with each other. It was very much like, oh, is there an echo again?
I thought it was gone.
I heard a little bit, but anyway.
Okay, I can hear it when you speak.
Yeah. I don't think it's me.
It might possibly be me.
Were you wearing headphones?
No, I don't have any with me.
Oh, fair.
But I've turned the sound down a little bit, so hopefully it's not as loud.
But yeah.
Quiet, creepy echo in the background.
It fits for the story, so.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed, but sometimes my light flickers on and off.
Oh no.
It's done it all the time I've been here. But yeah, the room must be haunted.
Yeah.
Did we want to talk about like maybe favorite scenes?
Oh.
When she took the doctor dude to the underworld and he died. Well, he didn't die.
Yeah.
You know what scene I really liked? But it was like a flashback / memory thing when she talked about how when she was, I can't remember how old, she like did a show and tell at school and she showed Kirby off and Kirby went all hell dog on them and I was like, yes.
Oh yeah.
Kirby.
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah.
And then I was like, and ever since, and then they did that and I was like, I was waiting for Kirby to go hell dog again. I was like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I know what.
This isn't a scene, but I think it just brought up and it reminded me. I think I like I didn't like it because obviously he's the villain, but like the whole concept of the like powers and him like draining the kind of life energy to
I love that magic system.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And the fact that it's kind of like a almost medical thing, I guess was interesting to me. But like
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just how like insidious it was. And I guess it's kind of a reflection of real life, like the colonizers taking the sort of,
yeah.
I like that was a
life energy.
And then he had the white savior complex where he's
oh
like,
my god,
need me to survive.
And I was like, oh, sir, stop! You're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah, I really like the climax scene where they're at the party and then it all hell breaks loose in the piano and like all the vampires. It was just like chaos.
When the people lifts up and it's the cousin's dead body right underneath.
I know. Yeah, one random scene that I really liked, and I just thought it was like really funny. Like I felt like this book was like quite funny in a lot of ways. Like
I agree. It dealt with some like really kind of interesting themes and like hard-hitting topics, but it did it in a really kind of light-hearted way. I think that's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, with why it reminds me of middle grade is like how it approaches those topics. But one scene that I thought was really funny and like I literally laughed out loud was the whole scene with like the phony psychic lady.
Oh yeah, I was
was just like, I can't.
Of course, this one guy has a phony psychic on his payroll.
And then Jay's like, "Oh, my aunt, she's a real psychic."
I was just like,
why did you mention that? Just that way.
It was just so funny and like
trying so hard.
Yeah, and then the fact that like Lenore was just like taking everything in and like just believing the like phony psychic lady, and I'm like, ma'am, you're so stupid. Like, she was like, so frustrating.
Lenore's story was so interesting to me.
It was
just because she has that grief to deal with, but like you could tell there were moments where, like, especially when they think she's gone to the grave to dig him up.
Yeah,
you think, I wish that was explored a bit more because it just felt like she was going kind of on that path, and then it just like she got pulled back, and now she was like fine by the end, and it just felt a little jarring.
But
I also think she was fine at the end because she did see the ghost that got brought back to life because of her baby. Because like the mom suspected because like Lenore wasn't depressed and she had like that smile on her face. I think it was like
right.
Yeah,
and I was just like, ma'am, ma'am, I get it. But like the thing is they've explained to her how the dead work and that how like that's not her husband anymore. But like she is so engulfed by trauma and grief that like
exactly that first scene where they meet and
I feel like part of it was also that Lenore didn't understand their culture and their customs, and she didn't want to understand either, and so like she didn't respect those the cultural customs surrounding the dead. And I thought that was a really interesting way to touch on that, and like the kind of like interracial relationship dynamic that even though Trevor was dead, like they touched on the potentially like they might have had some clashes in terms of culture during their like relationship, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting as well how they kind of had the like they don't talk about the dead and they don't like mention them by name for a certain period of time. I thought that was something about. Yeah, with like Lenore and the phony psychic scene, I think she was just like so desperate to kind of have like an answer or something.
Because after she left, like Ellie was like, she was lying, right? And she's like, yeah. I feel like it was really in the scene where they first met in the in her house where she's just like, you can bring him back, right? Can you bring him back? And you could really tell Ellie was scared, didn't know what to do until her mom came in and just like diffused the situation. Also, like I don't know if you guys like the two stories are very different. Did you guys get Out vibes from this?
I've never watched Get Out.
I've never even heard of it. Well, I feel like I vaguely heard of it, but I don't.
It's a movie.
It's a horrifying movie.
Yeah, if it's horror, then that's probably why I haven't watched it.
I don't watch horror either, but like
it's actually not that bad to watch because like
it's like more psychological.
Yeah. And it deals with issues of race.
It also deals with like a white family that is just perfect that everyone thinks is perfect on surface level, but inside they're monsters.
Like the major themes of Get Out is like the microaggression that white people have towards Black people. So like in one of the scenes, I can't believe we're talking about it, but like in one of the scenes, he says to the Black man out of nowhere, unprovoked, he's like, I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could. Like little, of microaggression.
The white family just reminds me of the white family in Get Out. Not the white family, like the town, basically.
The town is Get Out vibes.
That's what I meant.
The town is very Get Out. Yeah, I feel that. I get that. Yeah.
But like, and then like she also touches like on privilege, on not just white privilege, but privilege when it comes to wealth. Because like this man has literally been getting off on murdering other people.
Yeah.
Others. And like so he was so close to getting away with the death of Trevor. And then when he does get caught, when his secret is finally revealed, he's like, it's fine. I can do anything I want. Like I can do magic to make people forget. I can change the narrative of the story. I can move this town if I want. And that really speaks to like not only the privilege he has as a white person, but also the financial privilege he has. And he has the popo on his payroll. You know?
Yeah,
I think that's very true. Like, if you're rich enough, you can basically get out of anything.
You can get away with murder.
You can exactly
literally.
The way he is so confident until that last moment when he knows he has no hope, when she like drags him into that hell place. He's just so confident. It's sickening. Like nothing she says, nothing he never thinks she's she can ever do anything to harm him. Like she's not a real threat. And it's just that's why that scene when Sophia talked about is so much more satisfying. Because you know that this guy just got what was coming for him and he didn't even see it coming. And you're just like,
And like, I really liked it because he's like, well, what about my redemption or like my something? And then she was like, but what about your victims? Like this, and this was basically a way for like the victims to get revenge. And I really like that. I love a good revenge plot, you know? Even though he see it.
I was going to say something, but I forgot. Oh yeah, this is a slightly random tangent, but so I was reading a book called Blackwater Sister, which is coming out, I think, in about June by Zencho. And there was a line that made me think of all of you, and it's like, it was something like, Lord, grant me the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yeah.
It's true.
Got away with everything. And like, I think like the way that the author, because like there were like little hints and little bits and pieces in the beginning that tied together like really well in the end. So like what Tammy was saying about like the dog howling and how that got, and then like another one was like, I think she was going through Trevor's papers as a school teacher. So like, well, my great ancestors were amazing people, and they did that, and how they together into the end. And so I thought she did a really good job of that.
There were just a lot of little parts that you didn't think would fit into the bigger narrative, like especially like the kids parts. I was like, what is this going to like lead to?
Yeah.
And then when you find out, you're just like, every little section was so meticulously planned out.
100%. Like, I feel like throughout it almost read like a slice of life novel. Like, you're just kind of like, what's happening? Like, okay, like, let's just go along for it. But then, like, eventually it all comes back to play, which I thought was, like, it's just so good in that sense.
And this is the author's debut novel?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, it's really, really good for a debut.
Yeah, it's her debut.
Like, and I think you said this already, but like the writing style, I really liked.
Yeah, it's very whimsical, I feel.
Yeah, I think sometimes I struggle a bit with whimsical books, or like super, super whimsical books, like that don't really have much plot. But I feel like this one had, like, I liked the plot, so it's good for me.
Yeah, same, exactly.
A good plot and whimsy is like top tier.
Yeah.
I feel like another thing that I really liked about it is actually like the world itself. Like, I liked that it was basically our world, but like magic is first throughout it, and it's like it's so commonplace. Because I feel like this almost feels like a paranormal in terms of like the setting and like that kind of thing, and like the vampires that kind of gives like the paranormal vibes. But like I feel like with a lot of paranormal books, magic is almost like a secret, or like there's only a subset of people who know about magic. So I really like that in this world, like everyone knows about magic. It's never questioned that magic exists or not, and it's like it's almost like an alternate reality kind of thing, and I really like that. Like when Jay was like, in my family, we're like the descendants of whatever, and I'm like, and he's like, but I can't really do magic. I can just like.
Well, there's this one scene where she calls.
There's
this one scene where she calls him white, doesn't she? There's this one
she's like, "Oh, you're so what? Right."
Like, oh, how many times have I done that in my head? Like, I'm just like, no, let's not go there.
I think I tabbed that. I can't remember which one it is. I was like all over the place with my tab colors.
I actually didn't tab this book. I feel like already deckled edges.
The deckled edges.
Yeah, just like I'll just enjoy it. Like,
I did tab it. I just didn't.
This is a very random point, but I wanted to comment on like the book itself. Like, it's really like solid and heavy.
It's so heavy.
Sturdy.
I want to talk about the right angles on this spine.
Yeah,
I feel like with like normal paperbacks, they're more like rounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like sturdy.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Same.
Which is why the dust jacket feels a little loose on it, at least for me. I feel like
mine's pretty tight.
Because like you can see there's like a hole here.
Oh, mine's not like that.
Yours looks like it was meant to be round, but no, it's
yeah, exactly. I feel like I could always just like pull it in.
Yeah, you can.
I'd be too scared to mess up the dust jacket even more.
Exactly. I'll just
I'm that person. I'm that person.
I tried, and now there's like this. I don't know if you can see. There's this crease here, And I'm just
no.
like, I'm just like, it's fine. Let me just not try anymore.
I pretend I didn't see it.
I just also the naked hardback. Can we just appreciate for like 2 seconds?
It's so cool.
I love it.
It just feels like high production quality.
It does. It's also like, I don't know if you read this, but it's like there's a note on the production in the back, and they talk about what weight paper they use, what kind of paper they use. And I was like, as a stationery nerd, I really appreciated this.
Yeah.
I think I did read it, but I didn't like clock it.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
As someone who took a whole book production class, I was just really interested.
Yeah, I really like that note. And it's all, they even said like Ravina Tai, like she used an iPad to do the sketches, and then she did like what tools they use, and I was like, that's so cool. It's just like
because you can tell the paper is such good quality.
Yeah,
it's like thick
and smooth. It's also like okay, because there's like thick and thin paper. I've talked about this before, but my copy of the Poppy War has the thinnest pages known to mankind. But they are like tightly woven, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is just like thick and tightly woven paper.
It's just also the first time I've seen a hardcover that doesn't have an embossing, but like the hardcover itself has the design. Do you know what I mean? Because like hardcovers usually have like a kind of embossing, like when they're
I know what you mean, because often they're that like funny texture.
They'll have like it'll be stamped into the hardcover. Which is what books usually do, but this is like printed onto the hardcover. So, like I just think it's so cool.
It's just a really nice book, okay?
It is.
Production wise. If you can tell, is this small press? I think it is small press. Yeah, and also on the binding, it's like sewn. It's not like a glue binding, which is 10 out of 10.
I actually think quite a few books here tend to have sewn like bindings.
Really?
You guys are bougie.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good.
I think all of my books.
I'm gonna check on my books now, but I've only got 2 with me.
I mean, I also just don't buy that many hardcovers. So
but
I've got.
I mean, I have Chain of Gold right here.
I ordered mine. Okay, we're going on a tangent now.
Yeah, I feel like have you finished talking about the book?
Yeah, does anyone have any final thoughts that we want to talk about?
No final thoughts, at least for me.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like I might reread it at some point. Maybe like in a couple of like I feel like I need some time away from it, and then like I might reread it physically, because I kind of did both, like audio and physical. But I feel like once you kind of know everything, it'll be nice to go through and like pick up all the little hints as well.
Yeah, I feel that, because usually with mysteries, you read them once for the like because it's mysteries. You know the mystery, you're just like, why would I read it again? Like there's no. But for this one, I just feel like there's so much more. Like the mystery doesn't take up. There's like the family dynamics, there's the friendship, there's Ellie, there's the magic, the world, the exploring the world itself. The themes, exactly. So I just feel like knowing the way the book is going to end doesn't really take away from the story.
Yeah.
Rereading it again. I just realized I look like I'm in a horror film. The lighting is so bad.
It's not as bad as my lighting.
Wait, I do that. Is that better? That's better.
Oh yeah, you look like you're glowing with the sun. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add, much less intellectual, but I really like the vampires.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I've been reading like a couple of books this year which sort of bring vampires into it a little bit, and I'm like living for the resurgence.
Yeah, because like these vampires are so different, like so creatively done.
Yeah, so
I would.
I think so.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. Like, because like you were saying, Tammy, they're like sort of slightly. It's like almost like an alternate reality.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool. Like even if we followed like completely different characters, I still think it would be really cool to have it set in the same kind of world.
100%. And again, I would like personally a 6th grade backstory. Just like
Yeah. It'd be so interesting to
so
see this
good.
world a few generations in the past, even a few generations in the
Yeah.
future. I feel
Yeah,
like
that
just
would be
because it's
dope.
such
Yeah,
a new
yeah, yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you
like
could
imagine this world that like in a sci-fi also like brought in a bit like with slightly more advanced technology. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very cool.
like
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get enough pre-Columbian stories
Mhm.
set like in the Americas. And so like if
Mhm.
she did it, like I would pre-order it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what else she has coming down the line. Like, I feel like her writing style would work really well for adult.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And her writing style can
Yeah.
get better from here because like it's pretty
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'd like to see what she can do like for adult fiction because I think it's like so beautiful.
Mhm.
Like there's like give me a little novella, you know I love.
I feel like it's definitely possible. I don't think she's done with this world. I just feel like she
Yeah, I
introduced
don't think
so
so.
many things
Mhm.
that, well, maybe not following the same characters, but I feel like there's a huge possibility for like spin-offs and standalones in like the same world.
100%.
A novella following the phony psychic.
My favorite.
Okay, so shall we wrap up there? If everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone who joined us, both in the comments and silent watchers. Yeah, and next month we will be reading The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. And yes, I'm a big N.K. Jemisin fan, so I'm very excited.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Yep. The live show will be on Sophia's channel this side.
I can't do it. There we go. Yeah. Bye. I will